a war. We know that you run yard. Find your African girl, left hard to be bad. The buckle, the buckle, the buckle, yard. Silent and go to lock them out and play hard. Them no know beat the card, them no know chanda. Man, to stop your fight out and make us feel like record. Oh, you come and tell me say you're bad and you're wicked. You check it out and you have big guns to hand. And if you have a one gun for two, nobody feel say you can decide the crew. Oh, you come and tell me say you're wicked and you're bad. You check it out and you have big gun there. And if you have a one gun for two, nobody feel say you can decide the crew. Hey, you Mr. Wicked and bad, what's your style? I tell me say you move it and you simple like a hile. Anything you see, you just squeeze off and smile. Well, if I saw your bad, you better ease this profile. And if I them must say them walk on shed mile. The murder, the man and the woman and the child. Wash out your mouth, you little fool about your pile. Your skin must say you got you like some old crocodile. Oh, you come and tell me say you're bad and you're wicked. You check it out and you want big guns to bad. And if you have a one gun for two, nobody feel say you can decide the crew. Oh, you come and tell me say you're wicked and you're bad. Me check it out and you want big gun well. And if you have a one gun for two, nobody feel say you can decide the crew. Respect them and them from Jordan and jungle. Who know the cement down in New York to big gun the one to go school. I got better humble. Walking on the corner, about the corner, I come run you. Little bit of boy come and push up and a crumble. To him sit the gun, me feel the angle. Look at you, we see at them first I go stumble. I begin the gun, ask them what them a do. Oh, you come and tell me say you're bad and you're wicked. You check it out and you have big guns to bad. And if you have a one gun for two, nobody feel say you can decide the crew. Oh, you come and tell me say you're wicked and bad. We check it out and you have big gun well. And if you have a one gun for two, nobody feel say you can decide the crew. Anything you say about the gun is in your cars. I will love the gun, but the target is a pass. Loving from a them, they say it's hot like a gas. Now go let me go because I you and it a was. Think out the mask, so that you are so hard. I know where program wickedness. Open the ears and listen. It's this question from me, the Republicans. Listen. Have you ever seen a body fight before? Does a man ever get murdered from the door? You would have balls and no murder me. Hey, you would have balls like a little baby. If a jungle man hold you in tight red and decide tonight him a go make your man was spread. You would have balls say no murder me. Hey, you would have balls bloodshed no pretty. If a God man catch you at the wrong time and decide him a go take you on the chill line. You would have balls and no murder me. Hey, you would have ball. Why? Rude boy hold it and they shot it and they not let it go until the body hack it. And the man go apply touch. Hold it and them shot it till people start ball. If the head buckling out and blood still on the wall. You think it and you drop your chin dirty. Get a shot your woman ball. Put her hand on her head drop and up on her belly. I say I want fun shit and you never did know. Say gangsta no cater for that. Shut up about the street raper and the got a man that you over rock. You still again. I don't ever see nobody fight before. Does a man ever get murdered front of your door? You would have balls and no murder me. Hey, you would have balls like a little baby. If a gentleman hold you in tight and red and decide tonight him a go make your man was spread. You would have balls and no murder me. Hey, you would have balls, bloodshed no pretty. If a cat man catch you at the wrong time and decide the man go take you on the chill line. You would have balls and no murder me. Hey, you would have balls, bloodshed no pretty. But we say, black shot don't say somebody know how to live. Wicked man will make your skin burn like acid. Him say, nah, treat no guy like no baby in a crib. So that in a mouth and spoon feed with porridge and must be clown. Good boy, about the bucket. If I the 16 and they must give them a post power up and people cry. But the grave already big go. Shut up, back him up and shut out the panic. I said, fuck up and I'm gonna back where you are go. Have you ever seen a body fight before? Does a man ever get murdered from your door? You would have ball, say no murder me. Hey, you would have ball, don't share your with me. If a gentleman hold you with time in red, at this time tonight, they man go make your marrow spread. You would have ball, say no murder me. Hey, you would have ball, don't share your with me. If a God man catch you at the wrong time, at this time, the man go take you on the train line. You would have ball, say no murder me. Hey, you would have ball. Joy, what do you do? Hold it and them shot it and them now let it go and tell the body happy. And the marrow have like some. Hold it and them shot it. People start ball. It ain't back and it out and blood stain from the ball. Early Friday morning when they play silent, it hear full and me see a man skate that would be. They say, Lord, me know that this now gonna make sense. When me hear from the shoulder, some shot them go red. But them lucky man, lucky, if I lucky. Cause the latest model, 45 nimble, have you ever seen a 45 before? Does someone ever get murdered from that? Gangsta is purple. I don't know if I'm gonna say that. When we say purple, we mean that. We don't want to stop with the coffee. Get black. How it goes? See it here. Uno better show me Uno on all original diatic gunman. There was say, show me Uno Steve. If Uno ready to go eat up on me. Gangsta stepping at the bank and him afraid. Gangsta run this thing and get paid. Gangsta cashless police pump parade. Gangsta right back up in the shade. Gangsta, escape done already made. Gangsta, can't get catching on no rain. Gangsta, all of the bomb and grenade. Gangsta, get away already and made. I say I know so. Gangsta no wrap up and play. Gangsta no take a balance in no way. I know so. Gangsta you cannot betray. Gangsta we murder you in a middle day show. Show me who no on. All original diatic. Who no better? Show me who no speak. If you no ready, they don't eat up a meal. Show them see you think you're simple. Keep them ready, tell them no show. Machine in them place and out them what them a do. Them don't know you, why you got you. Who you stand up to you all out. Them not go to you because them go into oh no. Show me who no on. All original diatic gunman. Big say, show me who no speak. If you no ready, they don't eat up on me. When you say purple, boy, you laugh and no dialogue. Them don't know say how we write the whole gangsta book. We a big heavy man gangsta and no small too. We no rap petty money. Happy brings we took the other way. Show me who no on. All original and yanky gunman. Tell what I will say. Show me who no speak. If you no ready, they don't eat up on me. Gangsta, stepping at the bank in no frame. Gangsta, run this bitch and get paid. Gangsta, cashless police bump parade. Gangsta, I park up in the shade. Gangsta, escape done already made. Gangsta, can't get kitchen on no raid. Gangsta, all of the bomb and grenade. Gangsta, get away already and dead. I say I know so. Gangsta no wrap up and play. Gangsta no take a balance in no way. I know so. Gangsta you cannot betray. Gangsta we murder you in the middle day. So show me who no on. All original diatic. Oh God. Show me who no see. If you no ready, they don't eat up on me. To them see you, think you're simple. Keep them ready, tell them rush you. Machine in them face and not them where them a do. Them no know you, why you got you. Who you stand up to do you all out. Them no know say you, we put them up in front of me. Show me who no on. All original diatic gunman. That is true say. Show me who no see. People know that if you don't end up on me, when you step for your heart, I'm not tired of them. What you was when I
now hear this. On anywhere, you sound a rap about people. Watch out on man. Hear this. When I was a little baby, take you for that man. Oh no, me done a big man. Now me a walk on me feet. And if some boy try test me, they must get the beat. It's a sound boy. You are gonna get the boom raman and they don't test the ragamuffin. Let me tell you, you are gonna get the boom raman and they don't test the ragamuffin. So boy, you better move before me reach it down. If you move me that up here, and lick off the face. Why move before me reach it down? If you move me that up here, and lick off the face. Me ragamuffin thing I see it with me. Sit on the corner right in the bunny. Hear no sign and them never see me. Me no know them less sound because they see them better move before me reach it down. If you move me that up here, and lick off the face. Me say me nah easy to get you go lick down boy. And you go through the gate, watch out, they must not know you're going, man. Tell you something, man. When I was a little baby, I used to call that man. Follow me down a big man. Now me can walk on me feet. And any some guy come test me, me know they must get the beat. So some boy, you are go get the food from morning and then you get the ragamuffin. Some boy, you are go get the food from morning and then you get the ragamuffin. You get the boy, we are going to hard. A long time. The boy go up to the right, so we can lick out the dance up to the top. Watch out. Wow. You better go to the dance, give me for me, you that up here, and lick off the face, boy, hold me for me, reach it dance, give me for me, you that up here, and lick off the what I'm telling from the boy. You want, when I was a little baby, I used to call that man. But now me done a big man, now me can walk on me feet, and any some boy come test me, me know they must get the beat. So some boy, you are gonna get the food from morning and then you test the ragamuffin. Let me tell you boy, you are gonna get the food from morning and then you test the ragamuffin. So boy, watch out, tell some man. You are, you better move before me pretty dance. If you move me, you that up here and lick off the place. Boy, move before me pretty dance. If you move me, you that up here and lick off the place. Me ragamuffin thing I sleep pretty. A long time that's how you want me. There's some people that will leak out in heart, and him in me. And take it up, place them that them down the gully. A long time it's so wicked and deadly. So boy, move before me pretty dance. If you move me, you that up here and lick off the place. Boy, go down. And not if it's jam, me for me fling and up your chop up. You put a hand, boy, move. And go pull a circle down. You know, see, say, baby, so yes, I hit run me down, boy, move. Pull out a circle down. You know, see, say, baby, so yes, I hit down. What I'm telling the boy, man. You are going to boy. When I was a little baby, I used to call that man. But now me done a big man. Now me can walk on me feet. And any jump and try test me, me know they must get the beat. So some boy, you are gonna get the full ramen and then you test the ragamuffin. Some boy, you are gonna get the full ramen and then you test the ragamuffin. You are, boy, move before me reach the dance.
Girls, hang up your man can perform. Hang up on big one too. And get them a scream to it. Alright? Watch this. Tell me, and for your man can perform. Can't hold your man, big woman, you big boy. And for your man, baby, oh, anytime. Good man, big boy, you want yourself, big boy. Can't hold it. Can't you feel the one? I can let you keep. I'm gonna shoot you when you want to. And when you shoot you when you want to. Fuck it up, I'm gonna get you. If that's not satisfied, that you say that's not it. Can't take your man and don't she really want you. Here, what you go to do, I need somebody to teach you singing. And for your man, don't go far. I want your man, don't go you keep on. And for your man, don't man, people, what is that people? Don't man, people, don't man, people. What you want in my car, and I'm here, that you go. I don't have to Every man I look at you, come on, she a talk what to do is nothing. Jump up on the kick up the come on, no. What I got like nothing, no simple. Skip food and so like those in Africa, ain't hard for your man, for your man, come on. Can't hold your man, then go follow your people. Ain't hard for your man, then go anytime. Good man, people, no one is a different girl, but that's it, you know, but the other guy, the kid. And when she don't get you, they don't strip it. And when she strip it, you will not fuck it. Fuck you off a better thing, they got to satisfy that she say that's good. I bet your man I know she can wash it. You can leave the girl to the kid. And it's so happy when she's singing. They can't find your man, for your man, don't go far. Can't hold your man, then go follow your people. They can't find your man, then they go every time. Good man, people, nobody is that big man. Certain things they will forget to do their best. That one to do, the cheat to force them. They don't find your man, that time they upset. She no want to be kicked up, it's up in her nest. The eagle with the cast, I got shit to the bigger of the fancy. I don't jump into the press. The latest thing is that them man can't. She put it, what it, they don't that. They can't find your man, for your man, don't go far. Can't hold your man, then go follow your people. They can't find your man, then they go every time. Good man, people, no one is a people. Good man, people, no man is a foe. What if I never talk and I play the people? I know what I'm to farm. Jump and shout all the while. Shout it out with you. Garlic shrimp, heavy shrimp, just $15.99. Red Lobster. Please, please. See return on that dog. The leaves that are wet button, man. Man, no listen to the gun. Original and gone. Making them say no, look boy. I'm gonna no down them can't control me. What kind of book the man go you see I made? They go with you not the chip, you're not the whole me. I'm mixing one the color, so low down on that old and nobody never used to call me names. Remember when I was a and nobody never used to call me names. Them it's a ninja from the much to move on the old. Detection, detection, and come back again. Them say I love me, but they might turn out to change. And now we got rid of the line, they got no meaning. When I was a and nobody never used to call me names. That's when they up step, I put them up. Don't want to believe. I wish I had $1 for every time I make an Instagram post saying, hey, look what's going on. And it becomes immediately divisive. People say, well, would you rather voted for Hillary Clinton? No, you're missing the point. We got to hold Trump accountable for his actions. I'm not saying go vote for Hillary Clinton. I'm saying hold Trump accountable for his actions.
Right.
But people immediately go to either getting defensive and using that logic, or they try something else, saying, well, no, it's actually he's playing 4D chess, and this is a greater strategy, like what they were saying about the bump stocks. Oh no, man, he's playing the system, he's working it. This is next level strategy stuff, and you're just falling victim to it. Wait till you see what happens. And there was no 4D chess strategy.
Exactly.
He was dead serious when he said take the bump stocks and make them go away. Sessions.
That's exactly right.
And I also heard that there are currently 3 different proposals on his desk with regards to getting rid of silencers the exact same way he got rid of bump stocks. And so this is what we were saying all along, early on with the bump stock debacle. It's not about the bump stocks. It's about what they're doing and how they're doing it. There's a bigger picture. And that precedent was set. And I was naive enough to think this is going to be misused by future presidents, when not even a year later, Trump's trying to misuse it again with regards to silencers. So, I wish people would wake up and realize that these politicians need to be held accountable, and they're not always our friends just because they have an R or a D or any other letter in front of their name. You've got to take everything they do on an individual basis and hold them accountable for their actions and make your voices heard, because they want to keep their jobs. They love their power.
And if enough
Right.
people blow up their phone lines and fill their inboxes, they start to question their actions. They don't want to lose their job.
Well, that's exactly right, Tim. And that's exactly, again, I keep going back to 2013. That's how we killed gun control when everybody in Washington was saying something was going to pass. And it was exactly because it was the same thing playing out. What we're seeing today, it was the same thing playing out then. You had some big pro-gun Senate Republican names who were working on compromises. But they eventually got the message. And after it was all said and done, the media reports came out that the reason that they stood the line, held the line, and didn't compromise was because they were getting hammered by the grassroots. And so, folks, we're appealing to you. GOA is here in the nation's capital, but our effectiveness really depends on you guys being vocal. Because if we're just telling them, hey, you're in danger of this, making the same read my lips mistake, but then they're not hearing anything, they're going to laugh at us. But if we're telling them that, and I think it's a great analogy, and because taxes and guns are huge motivating issues for voters. And so this is the other thing. I mean, this is a political hand grenade that they're playing with. And so we're giving them the warning. But if they're not hearing from people, they're going to think we're just blowing smoke. And so we really need you guys to send those email messages. And then be looking tomorrow if you're getting our alerts. We'll have an alert in your inbox. And I know it can be a hassle asking you to grab your cell phone and make a quick call, but you don't even need to talk to the senator or the congressman. Just talk to the receptionist and just register. Hey, I'm opposed to all the gun control they're talking about, especially red flag laws. We need to be talking about concealed carry reciprocity. Please pass.
Well, we're practicing bigotry and hate. All right, you keep doing that. And you, my dear, will not stop us. No hate, no fear, no fear. Muslims are welcome here. No hate, no fear. Muslims are welcome. So we no hate, no fear. Muslims are welcome here. No hate, no fear. No hate. It's the Muslim. Against that.
I'm united with like-minded patriots, people that have the same morals, same beliefs, and same values as myself as an American. The majority of us are veterans. I had that camaraderie when I served, and I've been out for 15 years, and I've been searching for it, and I finally found it.
We do have a lot of civilians, so it allows me to pass down my knowledge because I have a lot of knowledge that I gained while being active duty, especially being in the unit I was in. However, it's not applicable in the civilian world, right?
This
It
is
was like another airport.
Oh, man, yeah, it's okay, I'm scratching the phone.
New York City auxiliary police officer. A good 6-7 years. Volunteered my time. At the same time, I was working at the Greek embassy doing diplomatic security inside the Greek consulate.
That we don't want difficulty. We don't want conflict with law enforcement. Leah's our friend.
United States about good 10 years with DHS police. Went overseas as a private contractor. I also served with the Hellenic Army.
I got my magazine in, but I do not have one chamber. All right, that goes for everybody carrying a weapon. Condition 3. Condition 3.
But I was raised by what they call oath keepers. My grandpa and uncle retired police officer 20 years.
Cowboy from Hell.
We're not revolutionaries or anything like that. That's not where we're coming from. We're not anti-government. We're anti-tyrannical. You know, we're not anti-government. We don't want to overthrow the government. That's government propaganda.
This was actually my first time. It's tiring. I'm not gonna lie, it is tiring. But it's educational at the same time. Learn what to look for, learn your hand gestures, what to and what not to do.
And I had to go back and show these guys because they're walking up. Okay, what we do? Well, first of all, you're dead. You have two tangos in the water right here.
Come on, so you watch it, like I said, just because you got target, just because there's water doesn't mean there's not enemy. I'm a sailor. I'll practice in the water. All right, so move forward.
GSF 3%, and Alabama Security Force 3%, making some sweet music with our semi-automatic rifles and our slide fires, binary triggers, and everything else that they want to make illegal. I hope you enjoy it. Guns up. God bless. See you on 223. Hoorah!
Bang, 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 bang. Y'all need to get that. Golly. You don't want to be on the other side of these. See? Smack it. Bing, 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 bing. Hit it every time. Bing, 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 bing. And they going back. Good morning. I'm just having fun. Boom, 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 boom. That's a pump. That was boom, boom, boom. We're going to shoot you. Yeah. And that was just like a test of force. And that ain't shit. But that was shit. You know what I'm saying?
I'm united with like-minded patriots, people that have.
That's what we're about. Let's take care of people.
Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything. How about on astronauts? Everything. You know. Janet Boney explored the growing number of Americans taking up arms and joining patriot groups. This is her need review.
At first, they were not eager to speak with me. It wasn't until I went down to Texas and actually met them in person and spent a few days with them where they said, okay, we trust you. We've seen some of the work that Vice has done. And they said, we trust that you'll give us a fair shot to tell our story. They also feel very
Ridicule of the media. Of course, yeah. The media. How you gonna give me episode 3 if I can't get episode 1? That's just big shit that be going. You want to see just episode 3? Where's episode 1?
So I think we just nailed the double V formation. The guy who's instructing us, he's former military, with a bunch of 3%ers are going to do military training. There are over 800 active anti-government patriot groups nationwide.
Anti-government.
One such group, the 3%ers, claims that their network includes up to 25,000 members across all 50 states. They derive their name from their belief that only 3% of the population took up arms against the British during the Revolutionary War. Today, I'll be training with their Colorado chapter.
Basically, we're here to do a little bit of reconnaissance. We have a hill, we need to see what's on the other side. If we should see any movement, we'll go ahead and do more of a wedge formation so that we can cover more ground and have more eyes. And if need be, worst case scenario, more rifles on target.
Bravo team, multiple contact in ravine 500 meters to your east.
So I think we just nailed the double V formation. The guy who's instructing us, he's former military, so this is all stuff that he learned while he was serving. In fact, almost all the instructors and most of the participants have a military background, including former Marine and 3% co-founder Mike Morris.
They are. The full 25 rounds mag, okay? A lot of the Patriot movement started with gun rights. As faith in the government continues to erode, people are starting to want to go back to the real intention of the Constitution. The original intent of the Second Amendment was that the American citizen would be as armed and as prepared as the government itself. Go!
All right, you killed that dead.
always been a lot of fear with the Obama administration. He's already proven that he's willing to do whatever he has to do to go after the Second Amendment. But with a well-armed population, it makes being a tyrannical government dangerous.
I guess people will wonder, why are you training? Give me a scenario where you would take those skills and put them to work.
I don't know how deep I want to go into that question. We train for the day that we hope never comes. The Patriot movement's in every city, in every town. There's millions of folks out there. If there's ever a time when the only people that we can rely on are ourselves, we're prepared for it.
Like many other political movements, the Patriots rely on all forms of modern media to get their message out, particularly the extremely popular conservative radio. I tagged along as Mike and his co-founder Mitch Nara appeared on Denver's Freedom 560, which airs on Colorado's KLZ, a conservative radio station.
And we are back. This is Freedom 560. I'm your host, Ken Clark. We have Mike and Mitch. We also have Gianna Taboni.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. KLZ 560 is all about restoring the Constitution, the law of the land. For that, they paint us into corners. They call us bigots. They call us racists. They call us all these wonderful names.
That's the stigma. People look at us and think, well, that guy's crazy. It could possibly be that you're wanting to go back to restore a certain way of life.
Who makes up this Patriot movement?
I mean, they're everyday people. They're your neighbors. It's anybody that believes in the Constitution and protecting and supporting those rights.
I used to think that getting a Republican elected was enough. It's not. We all know that now. They had to lie, cheat, and steal to get Obamacare passed. The EPA has run amok. We've got problems on the border. We've got ISIS.
Do you think that ISIS has crossed the border?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you bet. The Department of Homeland Security has already reported that they are tracking ISIS terrorists inside the United States.
Do you think it's any coincidence that they're taking these illegals and they're putting them in red states?
Oh, no. This whole amnesty movement is about nothing but votes. If you are a politician wanting to sell out my freedoms and my liberty, you are my enemy. End of story. We have to get the federal government out of our way.
To find out more about what's behind this most recent surge in popularity of the Patriot movement, I spoke to Mark Pochak of the Southern Poverty Law Center, an organization that monitored these extremist groups throughout the country.
Well, and Patriot groups was pretty much a direct response to the election of Obama and what that election represented the big demographic change in this country. Very significant slice of the population saw this as a terrible thing and felt that their country had been taken from them. Patriot militia groups in particular grew by some 800+%, from about 150 groups to more than 1,360 groups in the course of 4 years. This is a world that really worships weapons and weaponry, fighting. And their idea is that the government is somehow every day becoming more tyrannical. It's easy to kind of laugh these groups off, but we ignore the threat from the American domestic radical right at our peril.
In fact, there have already been a number of serious confrontations between the radical right and the federal government over the past few years. The most well-known was in April of 2014, when a dispute between a rancher and a federal agency quickly escalated into an armed standoff. Cliven Bundy's family has owned a ranch near Bunkerville, Nevada since 1948. He's been at odds with the Bureau of Land Management, or BLM, for more than 20 years for grazing his cattle on federal land without permits or paying fees. Finally, it came to a head.
There's been a battle, called the Range War, on the West for maybe 100 years. The battle is, who owns this land? The federal government has no business dealing with the land or any of the laws, in the state of Nevada.
And how did that battle escalate in April?
It escalated to the point that the United States said, okay, Cliven Bundy is trespassing on our land. He's not paying grazing fees, so we're going to seize and impound his cattle.
After the cattle roundup, local Bundy supporters began to protest. But when a video of police using dogs and tasers to attack the protesters was posted online, many more like-minded and well-armed Americans descended on Clark County, Nevada.
And they were supporting the people. don't like them to treat us like England. We're not ever going to allow that again. We're going to go at the freeway. We're going to block the freeway. Get it going, cowboys. Let's go get it done.
And an armed standoff between Bundy supporters and the BLM began. Former Marine Buddha Cavalier is the head of security for the Bundy family and was there on the day of the standoff. Can you just illustrate for us what actually happened on that bridge? What did it look like?
We had both freeways blocked off all the way out pretty much to Vegas and pretty much all the way into Utah. The BLM was on this side facing that way. We had citizens facing this way. Right up on the ridge over here is a flat spot where they had their sniper. We had counter snipers on top of the bridge. Tactically speaking, we had superior ground in the art of warfare. The high ground usually wins. Should a firefight have erupted, it would have been a bloodbath on both ends, but it would have shown once again what Americans are willing to do.
Ultimately, it was the federal agents who backed down.
They went ahead and wrapped it up and left. They tucked tail and run too. Cattle walking through their baby calves, mom cows, dad cows, and everything.
What did it mean for you guys when they backed down?
It was a victory for this stage of the battle. There's still a war going on for liberty and freedoms that need to be addressed.
Do you think there are patriots that are willing to die for this movement?
Oh yeah. Anybody who's willing to show up out here and go against tyrannical government force shows that they're people out there that go to that level.
The legacy of the Bundy Ranch is going to be felt for many years to come.
Daryl Johnson is a former senior domestic terrorism analyst for the Department of Homeland Security.
It served not only as a recruitment tool to bring more people into these extremist causes, that became a radicalization though, because they did take arms against the federal government and got away with it.
This victory over federal authorities emboldened the movement and even inspired some of its more extreme members to carry out even deadlier actions.
One such example of radicalized individuals in the Bundy Ranch is Jared and Amanda Miller, who stood side by side with the militia and repelled the federal government.
I really don't want violence toward them, but if that's the language they want to speak, we'll learn it.
A few weeks later, they would carry out a violent attack in Las Vegas, Nevada, killing 2 police officers and draping them with the Gadsden Minute flag. And there are many Jared and Amanda Millers who were at the Bundy Ranch who are now back in their communities. We've had a number of recent domestic terrorism attacks that no one even realizes has happened. For example, the NAACP office in Colorado was recently bombed. We had police officers shot in Florida and Pennsylvania under political causes. There have been a number of these attacks that the media doesn't follow up on to see what the motivation was. So a lot of people don't realize that these are terrorist attacks.
But it's not just confrontations like the Bundy standoff that's fueling the growth of patriot groups. President Obama's policies regarding illegal immigration and border control have been perceived as so lenient that it's only further galvanized the movement. Now, many have taken border security into their own hands.
Look at it as a foreign invasion, taking away jobs, taking away our rights. This feeds into the cause of the militia to organize, train. And so a number of vigilante groups formed along the border of Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico.
This is basically where the fence stops at what we call a pedestrian walk around. It only goes about 2 miles, and then after that, it's wide open. With the amnesty that's going on, basically, it's just opened up the border. Obama's taking them from here and putting them all over the country. We have no idea where they're going. We're finding out a lot of these people are criminals and from terrorist countries.
You think there are terrorists coming over?
Absolutely. I mean, we got the ISIS problem going on. They've stated they're going to come to our country. Obama's just made it basically easy for you, just wherever you're from in the world. You just come here and just walk right in and start living here.
Our government's not committed to anything but put money in their pockets, in my opinion. This is a duty more than a job.
It's at the point where the federal government won't even act to secure its own nation's borders. The common citizen is just going to have to take over for himself.
The government is no longer doing what it's supposed to do, then the people have the power to make the changes necessary. We're prior service veterans who wants to get involved, who wants to help, and wants to do what's right. And now that we're no longer under contract, we don't have to follow the orders. They're afraid of what we might do.
We have the right to put an end to it.
Our operations that are anywhere from 20 to 100 people, and it's growing faster than we keep track.
This militia's numbers have grown so much that they're now able to send out additional teams that patrol throughout the night.
Alpha, this is Bravo. Bravo is advancing to your position.
As more militias arrive heavily armed at the border, federal authorities have grown increasingly concerned.
Today we find ourselves at a white-hot period of extremism in America. Due to the sheer size of the Patriot movement, the fact that we've got hundreds of thousands of people that subscribe to these extremist belief systems, the military training that they have, and the capability, the massive amounts of firearms and explosives, I consider them one of the greatest threats.
In fact, a recent study funded by the Department of Homeland Security found that local law enforcement considers extreme anti-government groups two of the top three greatest
people carry out violence. We've had police officers that have been killed, we've had federal buildings targeted, we've had mosques burned, individuals become radicalized to the point of carrying out acts of terrorism, and we're long overdue for a mass Catholic attack.
In recent years, record levels of overfishing have pushed many species of sea life to the brink of extinction. One of the hardest hit has been the shark. In fact,
Warring Mexican.
the world is changing. Great, except for the fact that American politics has become highly contentious and intensely partisan. But in the Philippines, they're taking this to a whole new level. With more than 1,200 political assassinations in the last decade alone, the Philippines is one of the deadliest places on earth for politicians. So we sent Ryan Duffy to follow one of the nation's most gunned-after candidates as he registers for re-election.
They are just lazy dogs that they just want easy money.
Lazy dogs want money. Yeah, I have a lot of guns. Arrest me for disaster. It's election season in the Philippines. And for those bold enough to run for office, that means guns, armed convoys, and plenty of violence. Now, the Philippines is already the most dangerous place on earth to run for political office. Because in a corrupt system, politicians can amass huge amounts of wealth and power if they hold top government positions. So, as a result, they arm themselves to the teeth and build private militias, which, because of political infighting, turn the country's provinces into full-on war zones. In November of 2009, Vice Mayor Mangu Dodaju sent a convoy of friends, family, and followers to file his papers to run for governor. Just down there, beyond this road, they were headed off to the pass and brought up here, where all 57 of them were executed and buried together in a mass grave. Among those killed were the governor's wife, his two sisters, and dozens of journalists. When the police raided the property of the Ampatuan, a rival political clan they believed to be responsible for the massacre, they found thousands upon thousands of guns, enough to build their own private army. It brings to mind the brutality of warring Mexican narco gangs, except that these guys aren't running drugs. They're supposed to be running the country. And now, just 3 years after the massacre, it's election season again, and Governor Mangu Dodaju, the same guy whose friends, family, and supporters were slaughtered, is running for re-election. How big is the convoy we're traveling in today? I think more than 15? 15? Yeah, 50.
Really? That's your own private traffic jam. That's a lot of cars, man.
There was all kinds of security around the government because in a couple of days, he'd be filing the papers that would make the campaign official, which is the very thing his friends and family were trying to burn.
Confidence firing ang tawag dito. Ang huling pagsubok ng mga pumapasok sa Marine Scout Sniper School. Buhay ang nakataya sa confidence firing. Kailangan daw ito para maging tiwala sa isa't isa ng sniper na dati.
I'll tell you the truth. I'm a little nervous traveling with you, and I might move cars when we stop. Oh, it's bulletproof, thank goodness. I mean, do you think of it as in the back of your mind, or you just can't? Yeah. And what city are we in right now? Was there an attack on one of your convoys here not too long ago, or last year?
Yeah.
There was.
Yeah, last year, August 15th, was my birthday.
On your birthday?
And one of my board members, civilian convoys were facing.
And it was a political rival.
Yeah.
And how do so many of these different clans have so many weapons?
There are lots of loose firearms here in the Philippines.
I've noticed that too. Everyone has a gun, man. There are guns everywhere.
Guns are a huge part of Filipino culture. And just like in the U.S., they're historically associated with the fight for independence. But with gun ownership as high as 70% in some areas, the highest homicide rates in all of Asia, the Philippines is taking gun lust to the next level.
If you didn't think that the Philippines loved their guns, they named the machine gun after the president. Can you imagine if I was holding up Barack Obama right now?
So in a country where the gun has become an accepted method of political communication, it's no surprise that so many Filipinos are anxious to get their hands on it. And when you've got assassination and mayhem in mind, you don't really want a license model off of the assembly line. You want one of the untraceable weapons being crafted by an underground network of backyard gunsmiths.
Nice to meet you.
Jadi non sa oral na lang kung ano matutunan nila kayo mo. Kaya ko since ako magunit sunod sa nagsugod ako.
Just looks like a lot of old scrap metal and discarded items that shouldn't be able to make a gun.
Kami sa ako sa scrap nga barang po bitaw.
Look at that. That makes a gun.
Nigga made a gun out of shrapnel. Shit. He's making 1911 scrap.
May siya. Kasali siya kasi mana mahuman.
Pieces of scrap.
Komunidad kuan 14 niya karon 5. Mana kay kuan ang bubuhat dinamik.
In an effort to reduce political assassinations during election season, the government